What's up, guys? This is Rush with the Rush Outrospective. Around our nation, hardworking blue-collar Americans from every city and every state are working around the clock to keep America's infrastructure in perfect working order. With job openings sitting around 10.6 million this year, it's clear that opportunity is not dead. But the important question is, why is it that 4.3 million who quit their jobs this year are not taking other jobs? Could it be that our perception and definition of a good job has changed? Today we will discuss this, and we'll also discuss what leaders can learn from blue-collar working Americans with our featured guest, Alex Korn, owner of Lexus Plumbing in Frisco, Texas.
Thank you.
Alex, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Yes, sir.
We know each other, acquainted from the gym.
Yeah.
And I follow you on Instagram, and there's always something dynamic when you run across certain people. You go, I want to know that guy's story. I want to know who he is, how,
Sure.
what's he made of, and that kind of thing. And one of the biggest things, as we were talking at the gym, we had a little private conversation. You were telling me your little journey and as owning Lexus Plumbing.
Sure.
Is one of the biggest things that stuck out is blue collar American, blue collar working American. I'm sure there's a whole thing about that.
Yeah, of course. The term blue collar is not one I'm honestly a fan of.
Okay.
And this kind of goes back.
Yeah.
And it's not saying what we do is not blue collar or men's work or anything in that case. I think you work on beams, new construction, concrete worker, it doesn't matter. You go out there and you put your boots on, you get dirty, you earn an honest wage. And
Yeah.
You put in, I call it men's work, something that's hard. It's not easy. Not everyone can do it, but it's having the fortitude to get up and do it.
Yeah.
To me, plumbing is a little more beyond, and it's not so much trying to toot my own horn, is that what separates us from third world countries? I mean, being in the military, we've traveled all around. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why we don't, when we go to Mexico, even, areas, you brush your teeth with bottled water, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why, because we have sanitary plumbing. And
Right.
sanitary plumbing, as you know, will save more lives than any doctor's office or anything else. We take for granted the luxury of being able to just take a garden hose and drink straight from the tap, and you're not going to get sick.
Right.
You're going to be fine, because we found a way to keep contaminants out of your water, from non-potable water like your sprinkler system to potable water, which we shower in, we bathe, and we do all the above.
Yeah.
So to me, there is a certain amount of education and qualities that go into actually being a plumber, not just glue pipe, fit pipe, right?
Sure.
We all want the dirty water to go away, and we all want hot water when we turn on tap.
Right.
But it goes well beyond that. And
Absolutely.
the knowledge and education that goes into this.
Absolutely.
So, sure, blue collar, but as I said, that's just my own little hang up on that.
yeah, of course. When I'm putting this series together, for this particular conversation, that was one of the thoughts that came to my mind. Could it be considered, this offensive kind of thing?
Well, that's the thing, and it
I'm
really
glad
shouldn't
you
be
started
taken
that.
that way, because
Yeah.
for me, and we go back to my earlier plumbing career, I'm
Yeah.
sitting in a hot tub in North Dallas, the $30,000 millionaires, right? And he asked me what I did for a living.
Yeah.
I'm a plumber, and he kind of looked down on me, and
Yeah.
and that really put a chip on my shoulder on what I do, because I do. I come from third generation Italian immigrant.
Right.
My grandfather fought in World War II. Then he went to France, worked in the coal mines. Then came over to Detroit, worked for Ford for 35 years, retired. The guy's 99 years old and he's still alive. You want to talk about hard working?
Right.
Just the epitome of coming over and have a better life for his kids. And that, along with my mother, who will never sit still. She's a true Italian that just always on the move. She's like a shark. I got my work ethic from them. How
Yeah.
I approach my day, how I do pretty much anything. I can equate from that upbringing.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I think that's the one thing that really compelled me to sit down and talk with you and ask
Right.
if you would be featured on this series.
Yeah.
Is the mentality of gritty. Like not afraid to get your hands into things.
Oh,
and
for sure.
And when I started this, I said something. Has our perception changed? The way we see what our perception, because the job market right now is 4.3 million people have not returned back to work. Is it because our perception of a good job has changed?
I would like to say yes. I can assure you that I'll never go without work.
Yeah.
If my company fails or whatever, I can have a job tomorrow anywhere else in this industry. Can I equate why I can't get good young apprentices to come in and learn the trade?
Yeah.
You know, I'm paying them $30,000 to hand someone else a tool, right?
Right.
I'm paying them to learn this trade, so within 2 years they could be making $60, $80, $100,000, right? Just
Right.
2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
What else can you do within 2 years? You can't go to college in 2 years and get out and make that kind of money right off the bat, but you can learn a trade, have a license in your pocket, and guarantee you'll never go without work because
Wow.
it's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's hot outside, right? We work in the heat, we work in the cold, we work in the rain, snow, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's that intestinal fortitude that either this generation has lost or thinks it's beneath them.
Yeah, that's interesting, you know. And you and I grew up in an era where trade was probably in the middle schools,
Oh,
in
yeah,
high schools,
for sure.
And now that it's gone, we're like, it's like the technology industry has they put an algorithm, put an algorithm that excluded areas of training and certification and
100%.
stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
when you talk about the average age of a responsible master plumber, which I am,
Yeah.
is like 65 years old. The average age.
Wow.
The average age of a journeyman plumber is like 48. That's awful. It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
We need the younger generation to pick this up, to pick up the mantle. You know, I've gotten a couple kids that from an apprentice, and they're in their 20s, have gotten their license. They're able to provide for their families. They're able to move forward in life and be productive members of society. And that makes me more happy than anything that I ever do, is seeing these young kids become self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Not living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And earning a good living for themselves.
Right.
And that's what we just need. We need someone to have the mindset of, hey, I worked 2 jobs when I went through my apprenticeships. I'm sorry, $8.25 an hour was not enough to take care of myself, wife, and a kid. It just
Right.
wasn't.
Right.
So yeah, 55 hours a week I worked during the day digging ditches. 2 nights a week I'd work behind a bar and make more money in 2 nights than I would all week doing that job. That's what I had to do, and that's the benefit of being in your early 20s. You got all sorts of energy.
Yeah.
So I want this generation to wake up and realize that it takes effort. It's not just handed to you.
That's beautiful, man, and that's part of the reason I wanted to sit down and pick your brain about this stuff. It's in my research to interview you, I was looking at different videos, and somebody mentioned the Millionaire Next Door, and it's a book, and he talks about like it's a millionaire next door. He's a roofer. And he's a millionaire. And he owns his own. Now he started off as a roofer, and now he owns his own roofing company.
But isn't that with anything? I don't care if you flip burgers
Yeah.
for a living or you're a barista. You
Yeah.
be the best barista or burger flipper you can be. The money will always come depending on what you put into it and get out of it.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that's one of the few things my stepfather taught me. Just go all in. Put all your energy into it. You run it ethically, responsibility. It will flourish. I don't care what it is that you do for a living.
Well, I follow you on Instagram, and I have to say, you look like you're you're doing pretty well for yourself.
I do all right. I live comfortable for sure. But, I mean, I've had nights where I'm not home till 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because the job had to get done.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to. Is what? Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you've elevated.
I could tell you, so I've worked for many companies down the road and learned different aspects from everywhere I went.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin was my last stop. Big corporate entity. I got to meet Tony Robbins, just sales techniques, and learned a lot of different things from different people along the way. And I always knew going into it that I wanted to be an owner. I didn't just want to be a plumber. Mm-hmm. I knew the responsibility that came with coming from parents that had their own practices, business, companies. Mm-hmm. And the first place I worked for, and I'll give them a shout out to Hernan McFarland.
Okay.
And the owner was a banker who left the banking industry to run a plumbing business. Now, he didn't have a license. He hired out a responsible master plumber. But I believe he's got his master license,
Yeah.
all these years later. But I look at someone like that, a white-collar guy, drops his cushy job
Yeah.
and takes up, to me, a light bulb click.
Yeah.
Now, I love math, physics, science. I love seeing how the world works and understanding how it works.
Yeah.
Well, I use that every day when it comes to plumbing. Okay? There's calculations, physics, geometry, trigonometry. I use all the time when we're getting angles, flow rate, pressure, what size lines have to be. There's a lot that goes into it, as silly as it sounds.
No,
But that's just because I'm a responsible master. I'm not just a guy gluing pipes together. So I have to know a little more than the other guys know. But getting to that point, my wife was a stockbroker. So she did that. She had a good job. And fortunate when I left Ben Franklin, I started my own company. It takes a village. I'll never say you can just do it on your own, because it does. It takes support, a system. It just does. No matter what success story you'll find there are other people behind them, praising them, encouraging them, what you had to do to get there.
Yeah.
And I missed a lot of meals with my kids. I missed a lot of events because Dad had to work. Dad had to go run a call at 3 in the morning. Dad had to do whatever he had to do to create this business that now is self-reliant with or without me.
Yeah.
And I still have customers that call to this day, 15 years later. Oh yeah, Alex came out, 11 o'clock at night and got us back in service, or whatever the case is.
That's awesome.
It's just, I just did what I had to do. Would it have been easy for me? I'm not taking that call. I'm just going to sit here and watch the game, or I got to go to my kids' volleyball game, or whatever the case is. But it took a lot of sacrifice to build this to what it is today.
Yeah.
So, do I feel fortunate and blessed? Of course I do, that I'm able to live the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to now. But I put in 80-hour weeks. I put in sacrificed time. My wife, God, she was there. She held down the fort while I was out here doing this crazy dream of one guy in a truck who just built a house, lost his job, and now is just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fail attitude.
That's amazing, man. I always say, I think one of the things I was when I was doing my research, it's, some people have this idea of American dream, right? They have this this lifelong dream, like the banker. He said, I'm going to be a banker. And then all of a sudden he became an owner of a plumbing company.
I didn't go into this thinking I was going to be a plumber.
Yeah,
that
but you
was
saw opportunity.
but I saw opportunity in this.
Yeah.
And I get to help people every day.
Yeah.
No matter what you think of blue collar, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Most of the time people are calling me because something has gone terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Water heaters flooded their house. You got sewage backing up into the house.
Yeah.
I get to help people.
Yeah.
And I find a fulfillment in that. And look, being an owner doesn't mean I just sit in the office. I still go out and run calls.
Right.
I'm still in the field. I will never ask my guys to do anything that I personally won't do myself. And I lead by that example. Even today, we were pulling, before I got all dressed up, putting in a corner tub at a guy's house, realizing we have to jackhammer the floor and do that. Now, these are things that I teach. And don't get me wrong, I'm not working 80 hours a week anymore. I might put in 30,
well,
but I got to have some perks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'll give the other guys a water heater in the attic in 160-degree temperatures. I don't want to do that anymore. But I still go out there and do what needs to be done.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, okay? We're going to set, we'll use the term blue collar.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's just my own hang up. Don't you?
And the thing is, when I speak to it, I speak to strength and I speak
100%.
to
I
gritty.
agree.
You do
not mean
because there's and that's where I was going to get to. Okay, it's my opinion that everyone in America, if they had the work ethic that's found in the average blue collar working American, we'd be in an even better place as a society.
100%.
Do you agree with that?
100%.
And why do you agree?
Military, right?
Yeah.
What was one of the first things we did when we got up? We made our beds, right?
Yeah.
We accomplished a task. Okay, and regardless of running or PTing, physical training, and all the stuff that we go through, completing a task, whether it be just getting up, getting dressed, and getting on with your day, a lot of people don't even do that. A lot of people just get up and go sit in front of the computer and do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
Task orientation and pushing yourself. It's okay to fail. Failing means you're learning. There's a lot of that in this industry. And learning, when you're becoming a plumber, you're doing stuff you've never done before. You're learning how to solder a piece of pipe or chip around or glue something and why that didn't work. I mean, the first time putting garbage disposal, it took me 2 hours.
Wow.
The guy didn't say anything to me. He's like, figure it out. He just sat there and watched me. Now I can do it blindfolded and take me 10 minutes to change a garbage disposal.
Wow.
And I say that with the fact that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
I think people are scared to fail. They're scared to try new things. I'm great at this, but if I tried to be an HVAC tech, I'd be lost. It'd be a complete new learning process.
Yeah.
People need to embrace failing.
Yeah.
Embrace the fact you're learning something new. And I think people want to skip that step and get right to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I run my business completely different now than I did when I first started. I made so many mistakes along the way. Then you start hiring people. Oh, that's a great idea. Or, you start learning as you're going. So for me, it's constant growth. I try to nobility. We talk about nobility, right? It's not comparing myself to you and your successes. I'm going to compare myself to my former self, right? So as long as I've trying to find growth in that way, I'm better today than I was yesterday.
Right.
I'm much better today than I was a year ago, for sure. So once we find that nobility and stop comparing myself to our neighbor or he's got this, how do I get that? You focus on making yourself better. Don't worry about what anybody else says. It's a matter of what you do. And to me, that's my philosophy moving forward with anything that I do.
Yeah.
And it's important.